In old age, learn to be cold. Never answer these questions. Arthur Schopenhauer. Have you ever noticed how, over time, people change their attitude toward you? Before, they came to you for advice. Today, they often look at you as if you no longer know anything. Have you ever felt that as you age, people listen to you less but ask you more questions? Questions appear out of nowhere. Some seem simple, others uncomfortable, and almost all of them have a hidden meaning. The interest in you is no longer the same as it used to be, even if you've been through things that many can't even imagine, overcome losses, pain, difficulties. Now they seem to see you only as a person who needs to justify their existence. But deep down, you feel these questions aren't born out of curiosity. This isn't coldness, it's protection, it's wisdom. In this video, you'll learn which questions you should never answer. Question 1. How much money do you have? This question is never innocent. It's asked under the guise of curiosity, but deep down it pursues a specific goal: to find out how much you can offer, lend, or give. Once someone finds out, the gears of interest start turning. They calculate, wait, and plan. They plan with your money, not theirs. At first, requests come subtly. Could you help me out just this once? It's just a small loan. I'll pay it back soon. But soon you find yourself surrounded by obligations that don't belong to you. And if you lend money once, you open the door to a queue of requests that never ends. Arthur Schopenhauer clearly traced human nature in relation to wealth. He wrote, "Wealth is like seawater. The more you drink, the thirstier you get. Those who have little want more. Those who observe the wealth of others desire it even more intensely. That's why when people find out how much you have, they don't calm down, they want even more, and they want it from you." The same applies to charity. It brings benefit when accumulated, but it stinks when scattered recklessly. In the real world, giving doesn't mean handing things over under pressure. It's not about quenching someone else's thirst. Giving is a choice of how and when to use what you've earned. You worked your whole life, you saved, you made tough choices. What you have is the fruit of your struggle, not collective property. The secret, in this case, is more valuable than the money itself, because what's hidden can't be demanded. Schopenhauer warned that life is marked by hidden interests, and that much suffering comes from trying to please others or meet their expectations. You don't owe anyone an explanation of your wealth, whether it's small or large. It doesn't belong to others, it belongs to you. And protecting what's yours begins with silence. Say nothing. Ignore it. Change the subject. Don't feel pressured to give answers. The less they know, the less they can plan your life, and the freer you'll be. In old age, peace of mind lies in discretion. It's not about mistrust, it's about wisdom. Schopenhauer wrote, "Happiness belongs to those who are sufficient unto themselves." This means not exposing yourself to others' judgment or greed. It means keeping what's yours under your control. Your savings aren't the business of friends, neighbors, or relatives. They're your security, your freedom, your choice. So remember, silence protects, exposure weakens, and your peace is worth more than any explanations. Question 2. Who are you leaving your money to? This question is never asked by chance. It sneaks into the middle of a conversation, sometimes accompanied by a smile or a gesture of affection, but there's almost always a purpose behind it. To find out if they're included in your plans. They want to know if they're going to inherit something. And if they find out they're not, their behavior changes. Suddenly, their attention wanes, their care disappears. Those who seemed so concerned about you start avoiding you. Arthur Schopenhauer clearly saw this reality. He wrote, "People value others' property more than their own." Many people don't care about your health, your peace, or your well-being. They care about what you might leave them, and when they realize they won't get what they want, that you won't be of use to them, they reveal their true face. At first, they're attentive, helpful. They call to check on you. But it's not love, it's an investment. They invest time and words, expecting a financial return. Schopenhauer also said, "Friendship between people is, for the most part, merely a contract of exchange." And in old age, this exchange often revolves around inheritance. But you owe no one anything, no inheritance, no promises. Your money is your choice, and the choice of who receives it should reflect your values, your beliefs, not others' expectations. Because if you start explaining, detailing, promising, you expose yourself to manipulation. Inheritance is an intimate decision. It's not a topic for conversation or negotiation. And worse, by talking about your plans, you give others time to act, to influence, to try to change your decision. Schopenhauer warned, "Possession is secure when kept secret." So don't explain, don't elaborate. Let your decision remain yours until the end, free from interference, judgment, or pressure. Only a few will have a sincere heart. Your shield is prudence, your protection is silence. And most importantly, remember, those who truly love you don't care about what you'll leave behind. They care about you, your life, your presence, your peace. The rest will disappear as soon as they realize they're getting nothing. So keep your inheritance plans secret. That's wisdom. Your money, your will, your freedom, until the very end. Question 3. Why don't your children visit you? At first glance, this seems like an innocent question. It might come from an acquaintance, a neighbor, even a family member. But in reality, this question carries judgment. It doesn't seek to understand. It seeks to make you doubt. It makes you wonder, did I fail as a parent? Did I do something wrong? And in that moment, guilt, anxiety, and the burden of doubts about past choices you may not even be able to change begin to weigh on you. Arthur Schopenhauer bluntly noted the complexity of family ties. He wrote, "Children rarely forgive their parents for raising them. No matter how much you did, worked, cared, fed, loved, some children grow up and still drift away. Sometimes the distance is a result of life routine, obligations, their own children, accumulated problems. But sometimes the estrangement is a deliberate choice. Some children forget the past, forget the care, forget the sacrifices. Others hold grudges, sometimes for reasons that don't even make sense or that they've invented themselves over the years. But the truth is, no one has the right to judge you for this. The person who asks why your children don't visit you isn't trying to help. They're trying to question your worth. And this question doesn't deserve an answer. Schopenhauer said, "The degree of a person's sociability is inversely proportional to their intelligence. And often, silence is proof that you don't need to explain yourself to those who don't understand your story, your struggle, your path. You don't owe anyone justifications. Your family life is your private matter, and only you should resolve it. Give a short, firm response and move on. Don't give in to the temptation to open your heart to people who only want to judge, not understand. The more you try to explain, the more you expose yourself. Silence, in this case, isn't escape, it's self-respect. Schopenhauer also wrote, "Life is a task to be solved alone, and in old age, this truth becomes more evident. We can't always count on everyone, and we're not always reciprocated as we hoped. But your dignity doesn't depend on the presence or absence of others. Don't let anyone rob you of your peace of mind. You did everything you could, gave everything you had, and that's enough. Don't explain. Don't blame yourself. The response is yours, and your life isn't a courtroom for others' judgments. Move forward in peace, because what truly matters is that you know who you are." Question 4. How old are you? This question seems harmless, asked with a smile, as if it's just curiosity or small talk. But be careful. As soon as they know your age, they start to limit you. People hear a number and immediately make assumptions. They think you've already lived all you were supposed to, that you can no longer contribute, that you no longer have a voice, that you're no longer capable of making decisions independently. Your age becomes an invisible cage. They start speaking louder, explaining simple things, treating you as if you've lost the right to be heard, as if wisdom fades with time. Arthur Schopenhauer, on the contrary, considered old age the pinnacle of human experience. He wrote, "Old age is the time to reap what you've sown. You've built, learned, and lived for decades. Every wrinkle on your face carries a story that many couldn't bear to hear, let alone live. You're not a number, you're living wisdom. But by revealing your age, you often make room for others to reduce you to it. They classify, categorize, and dismiss you." Schopenhauer also warned, "The opinions of others are like smoke in the wind. It doesn't matter how old you are. What matters is what you do with your years. Age doesn't define your worth, your abilities, or, least of all, your freedom." That's why this question deserves the same response as many others: silence or evasion. It's not about hiding or denying. It's about protecting yourself from empty judgments, from stigmas that only limit you. You have the right not to answer, not to let others assign you a role that doesn't fit. Your age is your treasure, guard it. After all, those who truly respect you ask questions not to limit you, but to listen and learn. They ask to hear, to learn, to appreciate. And those who want to judge you by a number don't deserve access to your story. In old age, it's not about how old you are, it's about who you are, what you've been through, what you've overcome, what you've built. You don't need approval or validation. Your existence is already proof of your worth. So when people hear your age and try to box you into society's expectations, remember Schopenhauer's words. The average person is concerned not with how much time has passed, but with what they've lost. You haven't lost anything. You've gained time, experience, wisdom, and no one can take that from you. Question 5. Are you seeing someone? This question seems simple, often asked with a smile, as if it's just curiosity. But there's always an expectation behind it. If you answer, yes, judgment soon follows. Isn't it a bit early? You should focus on family. At your age, you still want to fall in love. If you answer no, the tone changes. You must be so lonely. You must miss someone. In other words, no matter how you answer, you'll be judged. We live in a society where love is associated with youth, as if loving is an exclusive privilege of the young, and aging means giving up attachment, touch, and companionship. But Arthur Schopenhauer, always realistic and profound, said, Love is an instinct disguised as poetry. In other words, love isn't tied to a stage of life. It's something natural, instinctive, that accompanies us as long as we live. The desire for connection, affection, and closeness has no expiration date. Old age isn't the end, it's a new phase, often freer, lighter, more sincere. If new love arises at this stage, it doesn't need approval or justification. You're not too old to love. You're not incomplete if you're alone. And you're not wrong if you choose to live with someone. Schopenhauer also said, "Happiness belongs to those who are sufficient unto themselves." If you're at peace with yourself, it doesn't matter what others expect. Whether you love or don't love, whether you're alone or with someone, you owe no one anything. The question, "Are you seeing someone?" isn't an invitation to chat. It's an attempt to fit you into standards that no longer make sense. And when people try to judge you for how you live or don't live, the best response is not to explain. Your happiness isn't up for discussion. It belongs only to you. If you love, love in peace. If you're alone, live serenely. True freedom is living without needing approval. Those who judge you don't understand you. Those who pity you don't respect you. And you're not here to be understood by everyone. You're here to live your truth, your story, your path. Question 6. Why don't you help more? This question seems to come from a place of admiration, as if they see value and necessity in your presence. But more often than not, it hides demands and expectations. They think that since you're retired, you have plenty of time, so you should make it available to others, babysitting grandchildren, running errands, as if your life should now revolve around others' needs. But the truth is simple and often forgotten. You've already done your share. You worked for decades, cared for your children, made sacrifices. How many times did you put yourself last to care for others? How many sleepless nights? How many worries? How many silent efforts? All of that is part of your story. It shouldn't continue just because others expect it. Arthur Schopenhauer, reflecting on human nature, said, "Compassion is natural, but duty is not. Helping is fine when it's a choice, but never out of obligation, never under pressure, never because help is expected of you. Compassion comes from the heart, from a desire to do good. But when it turns into a demand, an obligation, it loses its essence and becomes a form of slavery. Old age isn't slavery, it's a time to reap, to rest, to live more lightly. You're not here to constantly be useful to others. Now your time belongs to you, and it's valuable. It shouldn't be filled with tasks that don't benefit you, with obligations that aren't yours, with demands that ignore everything you've already done. Schopenhauer wrote, "Inner freedom is the only true freedom." Being free now means choosing how to spend your remaining time. It's saying yes when you want to, and no when you need to. Those who respect you understand this. Those who truly love you don't use you or demand your presence as if it's a duty. So when people ask, "Why don't you help more?" remember, you don't need to justify yourself. Your choice to rest, to preserve yourself, doesn't need explanation. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. The help demanded of you is no longer generosity. Your life is now your gift. Use your time as you see fit. Read, rest, travel, be at peace. This time is priceless and belongs to no one but you. Old age is a time to live for yourself, without guilt, without burdens, without imposed obligations. Those who don't understand this don't understand the value of life. Question 7. What's the worst thing you've ever done in your life? This question is never just curiosity. It's presented as sincere interest, almost as a form of connection. But in reality, it's disguised judgment. They want to know about your mistakes, your moments of weakness, to expose your regrets, your flaws. And the problem isn't just the question, but what follows. Because when people hear your stories, they don't forget, they store them and often use them against you. Others' memories aren't generous. They pay more attention to mistakes than victories. Arthur Schopenhauer aptly noted, "The mind is a mirror that reflects too much, and what it reflects is rarely the best of us." These are our missteps, our falls, the moments we'd prefer to leave in the past. But this question doesn't account for the fact that everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has a past, and many have wounds that are still healing. Reopening those wounds to satisfy others' curiosity isn't wisdom, it's unnecessary exposure. Live with those who don't force you to bare your soul to those who only want to judge. Your past isn't public property. It's not a story to be told out of duty. And if they ask, you're not obligated to answer. You don't need to invent, justify, or explain. Just smile and say, "I have many stories, but some things stay in the past." That phrase isn't an escape, it's protection, because not everything needs to be said, and not every truth should fall into the hands of those who can't handle it. Schopenhauer also said, "Silence is a form of greatness." In this case, silence is a sign of wisdom. You've lived long enough to know that exposure doesn't bring peace. Peace comes from respecting your own story and guarding what you've already overcome. Life is made of mistakes and successes, but mistakes are personal lessons, not arguments for judgment. Don't let others' curiosity strip you of your dignity. There's no need to confess or justify your past actions. Those who respect you understand that everyone has shadows and light. Those who don't understand don't deserve to know. In old age, protecting your peace is more important than empty conversations. And the best way to protect your peace is to know when to speak and when to stay silent. Your past doesn't define you. What defines you is who you are now. And silence sometimes speaks louder than any words. Aging doesn't mean struggling anymore. It's about choosing which battles are worth your time and which deserve your silence. Schopenhauer said, "A person is free the moment they wish to be free." And in old age, true freedom lies in not reacting to everything, not explaining yourself to everyone, not pleasing those who don't respect you. Silence isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It means you no longer waste your energy justifying your decisions, trying to convince others of your truth, or trying to be understood by those who don't want to understand you. Every time you answer, not everyone who enters comes with good intentions. The more you explain, the more they doubt you. The more you try to justify yourself, the more they'll judge you. But the moment you choose silence, there's nothing to discuss, no room for judgment. Schopenhauer said, "Inner peace comes from contempt for the opinions of others." You've lived long enough to know that not every curiosity deserves a response, not every question requires an answer. Your life, your choices, your story, they don't belong to the eyes of others. You don't have to confess. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to explain. What you owe, and only to yourself, is peace. So protect your peace, protect your energy, protect what's left of your story. Some people don't deserve access to your thoughts. Some questions don't deserve answers. And you shouldn't hand over the most valuable thing you have, your story, to those who only want to judge, use, or manipulate it. Aging means becoming selective. Selective in words, feelings, and silence. Silence isn't emptiness, it's protection. Schopenhauer concluded, "Life is a constant process of renunciation, and perhaps the greatest renunciation is the need to please, to answer, to prove something to someone. You no longer need to prove anything. Your life speaks for itself. Your peace is your answer, and it's priceless." If this reflection resonated with you, enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to receive more stories and reflections like this. That way, you won't miss any new content. Take care of yourself, and see you next time.